Welcome to the Scribble a Dream channel. My name is Sora, and today I'm going to be speaking with my friend Esther. Hopefully, this will be the first episode of a series about growing up in an ultra-Orthodox Jewish sect called Chabad Lubavitch. I am not religious anymore, but Esther still is, and I live in the Netherlands, and Esther lives in New York City. So, welcome, Esther. Maybe you can introduce yourself, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hi, I'm Esther. I live in Brooklyn in New York. It's a huge Jewish community. So life is like pretty convenient and great here. I was born here, I lived here for a while, and then moved back like almost 10 years ago. So I'm really comfortable here. But I've lived a bunch of different places. My family doesn't live here currently. They used to, but they moved to Florida. So yeah.
She's definitely got the New York accent, guys. Florida. I love
I
it.
do I do have the New York accent. That this is true. When I lived in Pittsburgh, everyone said, "Oh my gosh, like your New York accent is so strong." And then when I moved back to New York, everyone's like, "Oh my gosh, like you have such a Pittsburgh accent." But I think like after living here for even just 1 year, like you can't even help it. You just start to like say things in a New York way, and it's crazy.
My husband laughs at me because I say like Manhattan instead of like Manhattan, because it's
Oh,
spelled
okay, come on. Is that a
Manhattan.
thing?
Apparently. I mean, I say Manhattan, so that makes sense.
Wait, but do you have a New York accent?
Not totally, because
Not
I lived
really.
in New York and I've lived in the
Right.
Midwest and now in the Netherlands, so I kind of have like a jumble of different accents. But I think what you can start, like what we could talk about from the beginning, since you mentioned that it's like really comfortable to live in a Jewish community. Someone asked, and I didn't mention this in like another video, but I think it'll be interesting coming from your perspective. How do you remember all of the rules? How do you remember all the things you have to do, to be Jewish and be religious?
I did see that question. So it's sort of like one of those things that like you don't think about when you're living your life. It's sort of like I know it's like hard to imagine because obviously as, an Orthodox Jew, like there are tons of things that we do that other people in the world don't do. And it's not something we think about on a regular basis because we're just living our life. Like basically, when you grow up in a home where things are a certain way, and if that's how you grew up and that's how you've lived your whole life, then like it's just you don't have to remember what you're doing. You just do it. It's muscle memory. You grow up with it. And so it's basically just part of your life. It's not something I think about on a regular basis. There are certain things, certain customs or procedures that have to be done that you do have to remember, like the way to do it properly. And you do have to remember certain rules, but those are like very few. Like there's not, most things are like, since we grew up with them, we remember them, like how to keep certain holidays or things in the home, like certain procedures, waking up in the morning or praying or whatever else is like you just know it because that's how you grew up. Do you know what I mean, Sir Malka?
Yeah, totally. Like, I totally understand that. It's like brushing your teeth in the morning. Like, do you really forget?
Yeah,
Most
it's
people,
just
like, you brush
life.
your teeth
Like,
every morning, or when you learn a
yeah.
language as a child, like, do you forget how to speak English? Like, no, that's just, you learn it from such a young age. I can totally understand if you become religious later in life, then it's much harder because you have to learn all these
Yeah.
things. To us, it was pretty much second nature.
Yeah, and I think that like it's so normal that everyone's like, "Oh my gosh, like how do you keep track?" Because it's a lot. It's funny because it doesn't feel like a lot for me, but like as somebody hearing about what we do, like it is a lot. It's a lot, and whatever, like it just, that we're obviously living a different way of life, so it's obviously different and maybe a little bit like cray cray for someone who like thinks it's a little funny, but whatever, like yeah, it's a different life.
I know there are some really big creators now sharing about what it's like to be religious, and
Yeah.
they have like millions of followers, some of them. And somebody asked, what do you think of them? Like, what do I think of them? And obviously, what do you think of them? And me sharing about my life growing up, like, do you think it's bad? Do you think it's good? What is your view on it?
Well, why don't you share? Because I know that you shared with me that there's one that you've seen a few videos from, and what like how do you feel seeing other people who are religious, like people who are religious and sharing about stuff like that? How does it make you feel?
So personally, obviously, like I'm quite biased because of how I grew up. Like it was quite
Right.
forced on me. So I do think a lot of these people are glorifying it. Like they don't make it seem like a choice, even though they do say like it's a choice. It's just I don't, to me, a lot of times they're just really glorifying it. And a lot of times they don't share like the negative sides of it, you know?
Yeah.
So I'm trying to like do the opposite and share like obviously the good parts. There are a lot of good things about being religious, but I'm also trying to show the things that, are quite hidden because,
Yeah.
if you're religious, you're not going to post online about like the abuse that happens and
Right.
the sexism and racism and homophobia. Like you're just
Yeah.
going to focus on, wow, it's such a beautiful mitzvah commandment, to do this. But, there's a lot of layers.
Yes, yes. Such as with everything. I think that they're obviously they have like a purpose and like what they're trying to do is like they want to be glorifying it. Like it's clear that they obviously want to share the beauty of it, and so that's what they're doing. They're not like if it was like reality, like I mean like reality, like it was just like a day in the life where it was just like blogging or vlogging or whatever, then it was like, all right, we show you the day to day and like how some things are not as like glamorous. But I think that's the point is they are trying to like show that this is something they love and they're only showing the parts that are beautiful and that they love and that they're excited about because that's the point. They want to just like share the positivity of it. And I think there's a lot of people who do that, not even just having to do with religion. Sure, like it happens to be that there's a negative, there's a not so beautiful side of everything. And usually when it comes to viewers, those are the types of things that get more views or things that are more relatable, things that are more real life. Um, it's because automatically people are like, hey, that sounds so lovely, but like, what about everything else? So people usually want to just like they like transparency. They want to see like, like they want to choose for themselves, like, here I have the good and here I have the bad. And is it something that I'm still interested in? Is it something that I still find beautiful? And I think that's a really cool place for someone to come to on their own. But like, I don't, like if someone's gonna have negativity on it, like let them come to that on themselves, I guess. Like I don't think there's necessarily a place to like open the door for negativity. Um, Unless it just depends on the goal, you know what I mean? Like maybe somebody who's still religious wants to share a specific like their goal is to share a specific experience of what they went through and like you said, like make things known, like show the hidden parts. And for that, you obviously have to share the hidden, not so comfortable things. But, that would be your goal. It's just different reasons, for sharing.
I think it would be interesting to talk about like Jewish marriage from like dating to divorce and things like that.
Okay.
Um, I had some questions about, we grew up in the same sect. A sect is like a group of people who practice differently from like the mainstream. So like Chabad does things a little bit differently than like typical Orthodox or whatever. So people ask like, can you marry somebody from a different sect? So can a Chabad person maybe marry someone who's Satmar or Litvish or Bells or, other Jewish sects, or do you only marry within your own sect?
Well, why don't you answer this as someone
I
who
think
married
it's
out of their sect?
well, yeah, I married someone who's not Jewish. But I don't think it's common to marry someone out of your sect because you want to practice Judaism a certain way, you want to follow a certain rabbi. And if you're going to marry someone from a different sect, if you are actually like really religious, like it's one thing to be like Chabad light, like not crazy religious, not really care about like, you know, being Mishachist, which means like that you believe that the Rabbi Schneerson is Messiah and things like that versus, you really care about every single thing that Chabad does, or most of the things, marrying out of your sect is just not going to work because you're going to have like different practices.
I think that it's a really difficult thing because, like as like my sister is on Chabad Shlichus, which means she is in a community where she's trying to reach all the Jews who maybe don't have a connection to anything anything Jewish related, and try to see if they're interested in building on that, if they're interested in learning more about a Jewish life, because most of these Jews that she tries to reach out to are like more like uneducated, maybe unaware that they're Jewish, but also if they are aware they're Jewish, probably like didn't have the opportunity or resources to like know really anything about their, where they come from and their ancestors. So she reaches out to these people who don't really have a connection, and kind of like sows the seed, like, maybe sparks an interest. And if they want to continue finding out more, then they do. And a lot of people do. And why am I talking about this? Because it's a difficult thing. Like, some of them become more interested in Judaism and their roots, and want to be more observant, and they appreciate it and they like it and they find it interesting, and they really want to stay within like where they come from. A lot of them have like a grandma or a great grandma who practiced, and so they they have memories. And those people do become interested. A lot of them end up like becoming very observant Jews, but it's not uncommon for them to have, found, a partner or love within, not within the, Judaism, like not within the religion. And it's hard. Like you meet somebody and you sort of, it's like really, I don't know, like it's really common. It's normal. Like it makes sense. Like, I don't know, if you're out in the world, you meet somebody and like, are you like trying to, whatever, like, I don't even know exactly what I'm trying. I'm like trying to follow something. So like, stay with me. Um,
Yeah.
but like, I think that it's basically just like, what are your goals? Like, it's true what you were saying. Like, it's kind of like, and even someone who's Christian or whatever other religion, like that's the way it works. Like, you need somebody with similar, who's on the same page with similar interests, with similar values. And a lot of these values, um, will come from religion, will have been like grounded from your religion and stuff like that. So yeah, it would make life very difficult if you were living with somebody and marrying somebody who just had different beliefs. So that's just like understood that's just like a normal understood thing. But sorry, I'm a little off on a tangent. But what am I trying to follow, Sarmalka? Help me.
Uh, would you marry somebody from a different sect? Like, would you marry somebody who's Satmar or Bells or whatever?
Yeah, so okay, the reason why I was saying all of that is because I want people to realize it's like really normal to have difficulty in this area. Like, it's really normal to like be looking for a partner in life, and it ended up like not being within the same sect as you. And it's normal. I just want to normalize it because it's not like we like a lot of Jews, especially the Chabad Jews, like it's understandable. Like, we do understand. We're not like, oh my God, we like can't believe that you're like going out of the. We're not so old fashioned like that anymore nowadays, But would I personally? I don't really want to, because for Chabad, like it's a very specific, which is the sect that I'm part of, the community that I'm part of. It's very like it's like a very specific attitude in life. It's a very specific like mindset towards a lot of things. And I feel like other Jews, like obviously we're all Jews, so we're all like at some point on the same level and the same headspace, but like it's just like a little bit different. For example, when it comes to Chabad, we're very into, like I was just telling a little bit about my sister, but we're very into like going out into the world. Like our rabbi, who, he's not alive anymore, but who we still follow, was very like, had like a whole initiative where he would send us out into the world, different parts of the world that didn't, like that needed more like Jewish sparks. Like it needed more like people there to help whatever like lost Jews or Jews who, like I was saying before, Jews who don't have a connection to anything, or maybe don't have the education that they maybe would be interested in, and give at least like have it available for the Jews out in the world who know that their grandma was Jewish, but like they totally have no connection. You know what I mean? And so we go out and we find these Jews and we ask them if they're Jewish, and if they aren't and they're interested, they could ask more questions, and they know that there's a space if they want to go to find out more, just so that it's available for them. And a lot of them are interested, and even if they like are interested at first and then they're like, yeah, it's not for me, okay, that's fine, but like at least it made a spark in their, inside of them, where it's like, oh, this is available. You know what I mean? And then like a lot of the times it'll also be like, at first they'll be like, yeah, sorry, I'm not a practicing Jew, so I'm not interested. But then like down the line, like something will happen and like they'll be like, wait, actually, like maybe I want to go see like what that's about. You know what I mean? And I think it's beautiful. So why am I saying this? Because the
Chabad is the
mindset is
only
like going
community.
out, is like
Yeah.
reaching the world, being part of the world, being an open-minded person, understanding other walks of life, getting to really like mingle out into the world to, to show everyone the beauty of our religion and to show the other Jews in the world the beauty of it if they're not aware. And just sort of like go out there. And that's an attitude that's like that I love and appreciate about the community I'm part of. And I think it's beautiful because, I mean, something like if you love something, you like usually want to share it with the world. And I love Judaism and I love my religion and I love, and I want to share the things that I love. I think it's beautiful. But there are a lot of communities who like are very insular, they're very insulated. They don't like, they're specifically taught that they should not mingle and they should not go out into world and they should stay within their, and within their communities and they should just like like not let all the outside world get to them and not be part of it. And, everyone's like, I don't know much about those communities because I'm not part of them, but like it's just a different mindset. Those people, their attitudes in life are different about a lot of things. And I just like where I'm at. So yeah, I would struggle to like I would not necessarily want to marry somebody from a different sect, but I will say that there are plenty of like Ashkenazi Jews who marry Sephardi Jews, which is a little bit different because like even Ashkenazi Jew and a Sephardi Jew, which like Sarmak, you could explain more about like what that even means, but like um it is a little bit different, but it's still like you could have an Ashkenazi Jew and a Sephardi Jew who are both Chabad. But like the way that they practice certain things are different based on like where they come from. So things are a little bit different, like the praying is a little bit different. A lot of other things are different, like
Like they
customs,
eat
but
rice on Passover. Sephardi Jews eat rice on Passover, or Ashkenazi Jews do not. Things like that. I'm not like super familiar with,
yeah,
what
I don't
Sephardi Jews
know.
do differently because we're both Ashkenazi.
Right.
Um,
Yeah, I don't know. I don't really know so much about like what the Sephardi Jews do different either, but like there are differences and there are a lot of Ashkenazi Jews who are like, no, I wouldn't marry a Sephardi Jew because like it's just different, And for me, that also is like, nah, if I'm dating and I'm like choosing, I'd prefer to like have someone in the same like Ashkenazi, like, but I don't know if I would be totally closed off because it just happens to be there's a lot of Ashkenazi Jews who marry Sephardi Jews. It's beautiful. They have wonderful marriages. You sort of, these are things that like you could, because they're both Chabad is the biggest thing. It's like Chabad is like I'm sticking within Chabad, but like once even within Chabad, there's differences and like the Sephardi and Ashkenazi, and with that, I wouldn't be like that would be okay.
yeah. Thank you for explaining that. Maybe we
Yeah, I
can
hope that was like
segue.
clear. I don't know, like I feel like I
I
feel
think you
like
did well, I
try
think.
to
You
run with
guys can let
something
us
and it,
know in the comments. Do you want us to keep like talking about the same thing or do you want us to like move on to the next subject? But we did
yeah.
talk about before we got on this call, before we started recording, that maybe like if this whole recording series goes well, maybe we'll invite people from other sects who grew up in other sects to explain things. But maybe we could talk about, I know people are very interested in like Nida, which is, the laws of Jewish marriage, like in the bedroom. Basically, Jews only have sex or intercourse. I don't know if I'm allowed to say sex on the YouTube. During certain weeks of the month because of Jewish purity laws. And somebody asked, like, what if she doesn't get her period? So maybe if you can explain a little bit about, Anita, like not super extreme into it because it's super, super complicated, and then maybe answer about the Nita.
Okay. Do you want to share on this? Like, do you remember any of it? No, you didn't, because
Yeah.
did you learn
I
about
was
these things?
never married in like Jewish law, so I do know that like you're not allowed to have sex during the week of your period, and you're not allowed to have sex the week after. You do have to go immerse yourself in a ritual bath. But is it like 7 days after you get your period?
It's actually
Uh,
more than 7, but
yeah,
yeah.
maybe you can explain it because you've been,
Well,
in the marriage, all
Okay,
that.
so I will say that I am not a person who retains information at all. So like I could literally learn something and I have no idea why. Like I don't remember things, they don't stay in my brain. So like I'm smart, but I'm not smart in that way. So when it comes to facts and sources, I'm not your girl, but I'll try my best. If there's any actual religious, observant, Orthodox person watching, just like you know what I mean? Cut me some slack.
Drop a comment.
Um, what's it called? So yeah, basically, during when a married Orthodox woman gets her period, she's not allowed to be sexually intimate or really even physically intimate with her husband. The reason is because she's considered impure, like the blood, is impure. It's just a fact. Like blood is not a pure thing, spiritually for us. So we are impure, and until we are pure again, we can't be intimate because intimacy is not only a physical thing or sexual thing, it's also very spiritual. So we want to make sure that when we are together, that it's also able to be spiritual. And we can't do that if we're impure. So we have this time. So it's really like half the month, right? Basically, a period lasts 5 to 7 days. And then for the next 7 days, we're not able to, so during the time you have your period, so for 5 to 7 days, and then the next 7 days after, we're also not allowed to be. So it's really like literally every like half a month, every month. So it's crazy, but um, what should I say about it? So this is like a really, I think it gets like real, like it's, I don't know, like I haven't heard like non-observant, like I haven't heard people's like opinions on it who are not like Orthodox, but I've heard like from teenage girls who start learning about the laws and the customs and the stuff are surrounding it for when they, you know, in the future get into, get married. And a lot of them have issues with it because, I understand, like, it seems really sexist. Like, what are you talking about? Like, why are you impure? Like, that's so rude. Like, like, we can't help that we get our period. And like, a lot of like younger, like teenagers will be like, that's so like seriously. I don't want to be separate from my husband. Like, why do I not have a choice? I have to be separate from my husband.
And they sleep in separate beds during this period of time.
Yes. So listen, I mean, it's one of those things where like this is not one of the easy mitzvos. This is not one of the easy commandments to follow. It's a difficult because especially, when you're just married, but even in general, like nobody wants to really be separate from their husband. We all need physical touch. We all need, affection and safety and warmth, and we all want it. So like it's really not an easy thing for anyone. But so if anyone tells you that it's easy, that's BS. It's not easy, but it is
She can
beautiful. And
swear,
when you,
guys. She's allowed to swear.
what?
I said she's allowed to swear. You said that's BS. Yeah.
Whatever. But it is something that you could find the beauty in and appreciate. I think that um like another thing is that like for anyone who's married, they understand this. Like sometimes you need your space, and when you're apart, it like, what's that saying?
Distance makes the heart grow fonder.
Distance makes the heart go fonder, and I feel like it's very true. And I think that also the rules and stuff surrounding things in Judaism a lot of times like they change over time. Like they just like sort of shift a little bit. And I think that like the rabbis who like helped to make the laws and rules surrounding this definitely like they were married also, and they definitely understood that like it is nice for couple like to have like the space becomes like it becomes appreciated. This like first of all, you have no choice if you're an observant Jew, if you do it anyway, so at least like find some appreciation in what this brings to your life. And I think that 2 weeks is a long time, but this separation of physicality and sexuality sort of is like would hopefully in a healthy marriage help to bring you guys together on different levels, like intellectually and emotionally. And because you can't do have the physical, you really try to embrace the other connections. And I think that's really beautiful because you just you obviously still want to enjoy each other. And if you can't enjoy each other physically, then you'll have to find the other ways. And I think that's a really cool thing to do.
Or
Is
what
to
happens if you, sorry, did you want
no, keep
to,
go ahead.
what happens if you don't get your period? Do all that while, like if you're on birth control, which obviously, like if you want to
Yeah.
have children, you're not on birth control. But if you also have, some hormonal imbalances or whatever,
Yeah.
does that whole thing just go out the window then?
So yeah, because then you're not bleeding, so you're not impure. No, so I have PCOS, so I don't have a regular cycle. I don't, yeah. So basically, I did get it like whatever, like there are a few times where I got it, but I don't really get it. So yeah, when you don't get your period, you don't have to be separate. I think that like personally, my experience with NIDA, as someone who doesn't really get their period, in the beginning, I got it like once or twice, and it was incredibly difficult. Like I definitely did not, I did not follow everything to the T. I didn't remember everything, but also like it was really difficult. Like it's not easy to be separate from someone you just married. Um, and it was really hard to follow everything. And I was trying, but like it just like, right away, I just didn't get it all, which is understandable, which is fine. But all you can do is try your best, really. But um, I think that after not having it and knowing that it's just like something that most women practice, in the community, it was like I sort of felt like really FOMO, like definitely because I learned the laws and I was like ready to like, try work on this and be good at it and do what I'm, commanded to do or what's part of my religion. It was really hard for like it started to become really difficult that I wasn't able to do it like everyone else was doing it. And I think that for me personally, that happened like I'm quite a spiritual person. And for me, it felt like there was like this like spirituality missing from my relationship with my husband. Like there's like this massive part, which is literally like 50% of your entire life. It's like literally 2 weeks every month. It's like literally half of your life, half of your marriage that is following this law that people follow. And I wasn't doing it because it wasn't relevant for me. And I was like, it felt like something was missing. Also because I am able to see the beauty and appreciate this thing. So for me, it was like, I kind of like really wish that I could practice this and that I could, follow this. Um,
And you did explain to
but
me how the going to the ritual bath made you feel, that it felt like a very spiritual experience.
so after the 5 to 7 days of your period, and then you do like a series of checking to make sure that you don't still have it and then you're not spotting anymore and stuff like that. And when you're finally clean and you're not bleeding anymore, which is after another 7 days, you have to go immerse yourself in this ritual bath. It's called a mikvah, and you have to go and purify. And you immerse yourself in and it purifies your entire body. And then that night it's like a very like special union between you and your husband. You get to go home and tell him you're pure and reconnect after 2 weeks, which is a really nice, fun, enjoyable experience. So anyways.
You have that too if like you're not religious and you go away on a trip, on a girls
Yeah, for
trip, or
sure.
yeah.
It's like totally
But it's
understandable. It's
not
not
like a
like a crazy
spiritual
concept. So
experience though. It's not like a spiritual thing. It's just,
not spiritual, it's just
physical.
enjoyable. It's,
Yeah.
fun. Whatever. It's nice. Missed each other. So basically, how did I feel? It's really nice, especially for someone who like is in touch with their spiritual side. Maybe someone who isn't probably still feels the spirituality because it's one of those things that's like it's so ritualistic, it's so like procedural. There are a lot of little like important pieces of it that you need to remember and keep in mind. And some people even like look at their notes because it has like all the little things that you need to remember. And with things that are ritualistic like that, um, it's sort of like difficult to not feel the spirituality in it because it makes no sense what are we even doing? Like what are we even doing? We're literally going here. We're scrubbing our nails. We're freaking, exfoliating our skin. We're soaking. We're like, making sure we have no stray hairs on our body. We're like doing all these weird things. And then we're like just like dunking ourselves in like a pool of water. And it's not like we're like, diving, going, like floating on our back. Like we're not having fun. We're literally dunking in 3 times, saying a prayer. Like everyone does it a little differently, but like, and then coming out and like leaving. It's like kind of, so it's like, whoa. And there's no way to not feel something. You know what I mean? And maybe if you can't like, maybe if you're like, I'd rather not be doing this, like at some point you have to start feeling the spirituality because you're like, what even am I doing? But for me personally, I really appreciated that, like it happens to be a lot of these like ritual baths, these mikvahs are very beautiful. They make them extremely enjoyable for women. It's not an easy thing to do, and it's not like super fun until you find it fun. Usually you do, but they try to make it as beautiful as possible, which is really nice because it should be enjoyed and it should be beautiful. It's basically like it feels a little bit like spa-like. The bathrooms are beautiful. The facility is stunning. There's like the amenities are great. The tub is nice. The shower's nice. You could sort of like have you could choose like what kind of room you take if you want like a shower room or a bath or a bigger one or a smaller one. Like there's options, but it's beautiful. They have like you could play, they usually have like music, like options on the wall. You could play some like relaxing music. They have everything you need there. They have the robe, they have the slippers, the towel, the little things like toothbrush and other like nail things for your nails because you do have to like clean your nails and your skin. So they provide things for you there. It smells good, it looks good, it's relaxing. You don't have any kids there, you don't have your husband there. It's quiet. You could just relax, and it has to be for a minimum of 20 minutes anyway. So
And the
it's
water
a
is like from the rain or something like that. Like it has to
yeah.
be,
So this
yeah.
ritual bath, this mikvah, it also like is a little bit different depending on the sect that you're from, like what the requirements are for this ritual bath. But it has to be like from rainwater. So they have like it's a whole thing, like making one of these ritual baths, making a mikvah is a huge thing. Because it's like a very specific way that the water has to be coming in and whatever. So but it's a really special thing, and it feels really relaxing. And as a women who go consistently, every month, like it's like they look forward to it. They look forward to this spa type of experience where they get to go. There's quiet time. It's relaxing. You focus on yourself. You know what I mean? It's a calming thing. It's not like it's enjoyable.
The real question is, how much does it cost? Now that you said it's like a
So
spa.
so the obviously they need to upkeep the place, so they definitely need money. Obviously, they do have people who donate and whatever, but they do charge because they provide things, and they need to pay for it. They also like some of them have like staff, but usually they're volunteers, so I don't know if they're really like paying for the people who are there.
You also have to have a
But
witness like dunk you in the water. Like you have to have a witness who sees it. So there's always someone with you.
yeah, so those are pretty much like always volunteers. People volunteer, women in the community volunteer to be the one who witnesses that you're doing it correctly and, stuff like that. So those are volunteers, but I would say, mikvahs, ritual, like these places probably go anywhere from 15 to $50. They're obviously like, I don't take my word on this, but I'm pretty sure, I'm almost positive that if you happen to not have the means, they still like they won't like lock you out. Like
Yeah.
they will still take you if you share with them that you have the money right now. Like maybe they'll, say pay next time, or they'll be okay with it because it is like something you have to do in our religion, and I don't think they would turn you away. But it is known that they like if you can't afford it, that you won't be turned away. So I definitely don't think that that's an issue.
Thank you so much for joining us today, Esther. Unfortunately, this video is getting quite long, and I don't think anyone's gonna watch it if we can
It
stop.
feels so short. Hello. Like it feels
I
like we've
know.
only been
It's
talking
already
for
like
5.
40 minutes from when we started, so probably like when I
Yeah.
cut it down and everything, it'll probably be like 35, 30 minutes. And I think most people kind of like check out after that. You
Yes.
guys can let me know in the comments, like what is your, preferred length of a video? Because I watch Lydia Millen, who is like a, English countryside influencer, and her videos are like over an hour twice a week. And I watch all her videos. Like while I'm cooking or cleaning or whatever. I know a lot of people are not like okay with such long videos. So you
Yeah.
guys can let us know in the comments, for the next episode. And let us know what questions you have, what we didn't answer. We will cover a lot of different topics. So if you've heard something and you just want to learn more or different aspects about Jewish life, just let us know in the comments. Esther, thank you so much for joining us, especially so early on a Sunday morning. I feel so bad, guys. Like, I was like, oh, she's gonna meet me at 9 o'clock in the morning on a Sunday morning. And then I was like, why did I do that to her? Like, I could have done it at like 10 or 11. So next time we'll definitely do it later.
No problem. No, I really don't mind. You know what? I'm a morning person and a night person, so I don't mind having to wake up early. Also, guys, Sarah Malka is such a good friend that any opportunity to like even like be in her virtual company is lovely. So I would wake up at 5 in the morning to chat. Honestly, I would. I love it.
And we're gonna see each other this summer in New York, so maybe we'll record like an in-person one when we're there. But we'll see, about scheduling and recording and all that. But anyway, I'm gonna leave you guys here, and thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe for more episodes like this and for my other videos.